Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Rishi Studer.
And good morning, everybody, my dear friends. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. Let me put it like this, a hot Thursday morning. But you've checked into the right place. That is Sunshine's Corner. How can I say it other than from the bottom of my heart? Thank you so very much for all of your comments, all of your encouragement as far as the corner is concerned. It is growing, and I appreciate you so very much because I tell you every day what this show is all about. It is about reaching the community, about keeping you informed on things that you need to know. And I always encourage you to be a part of it. 850-432-7768. When we have guests on, it is so that you can ask questions so that you won't be left out of the equation of things that are utterly important. I go on to say that because we are in the election season. This year, all years are very, very important. But I don't know, but to me, this year is utterly important. And I just don't want anybody to miss out on the opportunity of being heard. That's even by casting your vote. I don't want you to miss out on any opportunity of making the right decisions, because everything that happens is going to affect us all. It will not just one, it will affect us all. And today I have on with me Mr. Jerry McIntosh. He is Movement for Change himself. And Jerry has so much information because I want to talk about the importance, Jerry. First, let me say thank you for getting up, coming in with me.
For sure.
And I want to talk about how people got to make sure they got everything in order for voting, because you can think everything is up to par when it's not. Little things that they need to know, Jerry, so that we don't have to go through anything, because I believe the closer we get to this election, the more rhetoric we gonna hear, the more junk we gonna hear.
Oh yeah, and the thing about it, everybody need to check their status.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, it's just a few seconds call to the supervisor of elections office. If you or you come by Move for Change and we'll help you check. That's what we do. Is help people to check their status and help people get registered to vote, or help them get clemency if they have ex-felon. We check to see if I sent a young man down the other day to check to see if all his fines and fees was paid. He found out they were, and sent him right on to the supervisor election so he could register to vote.
Okay, did they hear you just say that if they have did you say a felon?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, I'm really harping on felons, and you know why?
Yeah.
But you said that he had a felony.
Yeah, but he had
fees he had to pay.
Right. He had paid all his fees, he was not on probation or anything, so he was able to register and vote. He'll be able to vote.
Absolutely.
So we made sure of that, because it's going to need all hands on deck to make sure that people have their rights restored if they can. Under what I hate, that under Amendment 4, we would have had some 400 to 800,000 people adjudicated to be able to vote. But because of the legislators wanted to overturn Amendment 4, and pretty much did by adding fine and fee, it's like adding poll tax to the person after they have served their time, after they have come off probation. Then now you're saying you owe the state even more money. But if you paid your dues to the state, to society, it seems to me you ought to be automatically put back on the road to vote. I know it says under the 13th Amendment, you're a slave except you're free except if you go to jail. So all your rights is taken away from you. And it should not be. At least you should be able to vote to make a determination how you want to live in the future.
Absolutely.
And even if you don't do it that way, at least when they come out, they should have a right to participate in the processes that makes America the great country that it is.
Absolutely. When you say make America, I tell you. Listen to this. Let me ask you a question, Jerry. When you say giving that person their rights back, and I'm going to be as transparent as I know how, with the person that's running for president, and he's been found guilty of all of those felons.
Right.
What make me understand.
Well, under the Constitution, in the United States, to run for president, you just need two things.
And that?
One, to be a citizen, and the other one to be a certain age. And there's no other criteria. And there's
so all those fellows don't matter?
Don't matter. You could be in prison and run for president, because if you're a certain age and a citizen of the United States. And those are the guardrails that need to be put up so that people with that kind of criminal conduct cannot participate, at least not become president of the United States, because they're setting a bad example for the nation and the world.
Exactly.
Because you are saying it's all right to be a criminal as long as you the president. You know, you're saying it's all right to be abusive to women, adjudicated as what you did was rape someone, and you can still run for president.
Wow.
You're saying it's all right to grab a woman by her private parts
and run for
president. You know, and there are people who will continue to promote that. Unfortunate. And will vote for that individual.
Right.
So I'm not saying that, you know, people vote for who they want to.
Absolutely. Vote for who you want. That's your choice. That's your right.
But at least get someone that's has, you know, that can be a great example for the children, for a generation yet unborn, because when they read about this in the future, they're gonna say something was wrong with us. You know, what happened to
put somebody in like that.
Right.
But you know what though, Jerry, you hear some of the young people talking that.
Oh yeah.
What I mean, how do you handle when I hear there was a person that was on my page, and what I'm finding out now, I'm looking at the people that are on my social media pages, and I'm watching what they're reading. I mean, what they're writing. Some of them are surprising me who they are and what they're saying. That I didn't think that would believe that way.
Yeah, it's I mean, you're talking millions. You're not talking.
That's right. I'm not talking 5 people.
Yeah, you're talking millions of people think that way and have not. To me, that's when critical thinking come in, and this is why critical thinking has been under attack and used. You know, when people talk about critical thinking, they're talking about critical race theory and all of that. And nothing is wrong with either one of them, but you should think critically about the person you want to represent.
Right.
How will that person affect the future generations, not just at your point in time,
right?
But what they do affects generations.
Absolutely, it does.
You know, and that's like whether they appoint people to the Supreme Court on state level, or whether it's on the state level, on the national level, from the circuits all the way down. A president has enormous power within the country to appoint people, and then under the Project 2025.
Now that's something.
That's going to be. I mean, if this is implemented into the United States, it's going to be devastating for the country.
Right.
Overall.
Dictatorship.
Yeah.
That's just my perception.
You're talking about privatizing the veterans' health care. You're talking about reducing federal disaster relief, and we are in the eye of a disaster area because we are on the coastal area.
That's right.
And where hurricanes and tornadoes come in. If you reduce those, you know, you reduce money going to FEMA and all of that, it's not just going to affect the poor, it's going to affect everybody. Now, some who have access to power can get things done much faster, but those of us, regardless of the color of your skin, the average person, middle class person or a poor person can't get those
kind of things that they need. Yeah. I think people to look back and to think about when Katrina hit, how the poor people that was affected and how it affected that area. I'll never forget that picture.
Well, you look at Mustang Beach where more affluent people live.
Exactly.
It took years to
get back.
And I think they might be still working on that.
Exactly. I don't think it's been restored all the way.
So when you see all of this happening and you see the fires in the West, that's burning acres and acres, and people losing thousands of homes every year. If it weren't for that disaster release, many other people would be homeless because insurance companies fleeing areas like Florida and right here in our own state.
And it's like this, I tell everybody, that says somebody is calling. But listen to this, see, that's the people.
Turned that off.
He did try to turn it off, but it didn't go off. But listen to this, everybody, that's okay. But we're talking about things that should be kept top of mind. And I don't like to talk about something that's not relevant like it is right now. And that's why I keep pushing for more people to come on the show so we can talk about things that we need to get the light bulb on. And I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for, but I'm just giving you what it is that you're voting for to point out everything that will affect you so you can make a decision that's going to be okay with you. Right. But you can work with facts.
Well, you think about when people are saying they're going to institute something that deal with women's bodies. You know, whether it's their abortion rights, whether it's whether they are trying to protect themselves from getting pregnant. They want to eliminate all of these different things that affect women and their rights and their autonomy to their bodies.
Thank you.
And I go back to the question that Kamala Harris asked when the confirmation of the judge. Have there ever been any policies or that's put forward to affect men's life and health?
Exactly. The way they're doing for women.
Right. So if it's not fair for it to be done to men, then it's not fair to be done to women either.
I agree.
To tell them how they should. I think that should be between them and their God and the doctor that, whatever way they want to go. As long as it's not, and I know there are exaggeration out there. There are women having abortion in 8 months. No, it's called C-section.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's like that baby's full.
Yeah, that baby's full.
That baby's ready to walk and talk.
Yeah, it's a C-section. So you have to get it, let's get it straight.
It's a lot of things that's going on, Jerry. And I tell you, there's something else I want to talk about too. For voting, for mail-in, is that too late to get that now?
I think either today or tomorrow is the last day that you can get your mail-in ballot. Call to get your mail-in. They'll send it out if you call. I think it's tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow.
So they got to that. So listen, if you don't think that you'll be able to get to the polls, let this be the information for you to get that ballot mailed out. Because as long as you get the call in, it's okay that you'll have it. That they gotta accept it.
Exactly. So I believe I love going to the polling place and voting and all of that. But you need a contingency plan, and that means you have your mail-in ballot. So that if something happened, and things do happen, because it happened to me, I went to the hospital one year and didn't have my mail-in ballot.
There you go.
And so I missed out on voting. I'm glad it wasn't a presidential election, because usually I'm always working on those anyway.
Right.
But it was a local election. I didn't get a chance to vote in it, and it was somebody I wanted to vote for.
Okay.
So
make sure you have those credentials
together.
So
from that day on, I always get my mail-in ballot for a backup, just in case.
Got you.
And anything, like I say, anything can happen. You could just be out of town, death in the family, or something like that.
Some things happen you cannot control.
Right. So
now with the local elections, that's coming up on the 20th, right? That's the primary.
Yeah, the primary.
And next week we have next. It's right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Oh my goodness. So people got to stop playing. And please, I want them to make sure they go out and vote.
Yeah.
Because the local vote's just as important as the general election is coming up in November. So please don't just say, okay, I'll wait and just.
In some instances, it's more important to participate, because these are the laws and ordinance and all of that issues, whether it's school board, city council, county commissioner. All of those directly affect you locally every day.
Exactly.
Whether your roads are fixed, whether you're banning books in school,
yes, Lord,
whether, you know, there's ordinance that you don't like or do like, you know, we need to be involved and engaged in everything that's going on, whether it's local, state, or national.
Absolutely.
So,
because your voice matters.
It does. It does. If not, we wouldn't have had President Obama. You know, people, well, my vote don't count. Well, if it didn't, you know, you would have somebody else, or you probably would have a dictatorship already if your vote didn't count. And people gonna make a decision. You can make a decision for yourself, or people gonna make a decision for you.
Absolutely, that's it every time.
But it's gonna be a decision.
It's gonna be a decision made. So be a part of that decision making.
Right.
No doubt. Well, listen, we've got Mr. Jerry McIntosh in with us today from Movement for Change. We're talking about the importance of voting, what's happening, what you need to be aware of so that you can make your decision. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to talk even more about that right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You can even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram, or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. I came back a little quick, but look, good morning to you. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. You stepped into Sunshine's Corner, where I really want you to sit back and listen. You hear what we're talking about today. What's your opinion on the things that are happening? What's your question that you'd like to propose to here to Mr. Washington McIntosh? And I'm talking about things that affect us so well today. I want you to be able to call and talk to us at 850-432-7768, because Jerry and I, we've got some conversation going on off the camera that was off. I mean, he's got some things that he want to share with you that I want you to really take heed to and listen up, because he was going through this list and I was like, oh wow, we need to talk about that, because these things will affect, right?
It's going to affect everything that we do in life from this point on, if it's implemented. Right. And if because it's a position paper for the next president, who is Donald Trump, from the Heritage Foundation. They put, they are part of putting all this together. And what they are talking about, they're talking about privatizing veterans' health care. You can go to page, and I would go through all the pages where you can find all this stuff, so that people don't have to really look for it, but if they want to, they can call us over at Movement for Change. And reduce federal disaster relief programs, reduce funding for public health program, dismantle the Department of Education, and you know how bad that is needed. My God. And that means that if you dismantle the Department of Education, all of the money goes directly to the state, which do not have to be equally distributed to to the different programs.
Right.
Because many of the programs already, Florida has become the testing ground for Project 2025 without saying it. Because
really?
Yeah, well, when you look at all of the funds that are being taken from public education and put into private education, that means that you're going to have a lack of teachers that can be hired for public education. Your schools is going to be lacking. You know, you think about the tax base in those communities where schools close. You're talking about custodians and cooks and the whole gamut of people that work in a system that supplies the needs of that community.
Right.
That's going to be devastated. And then you're looking at grants that comes to people that go to college that's looking for these kinds of grants. All of that comes under the Department of Education. And so especially from those of us who go to HBCUs and all of that, they're going to be terribly affected by this.
Because with this term, President Biden did a lot of donating to HBCUs.
He put $16 billion
That's
into
what I thought. I just want to hear that number again.
So that was life saving, because some of the college was on life support.
Absolutely.
You know, HBCUs, and so it helped to bring them back to where they need to be. And then you got more students now going to HBCUs because they don't want to deal with a lot of the racism and vile hatred that they have to deal with, and sometimes even professors who don't really understand where people come from.
The culture.
And and the condition in which they came. So it's also incumbent upon us to let everybody know. It's also reducing regulation by the Environment Protection Agency, where you see the Supreme Court's a couple months ago made it less likely that the environmental protection agencies and all of that can really do the work that they have been doing over the years to protect our water, our air, to protect our food, you know, through the CDC. All of these things are important. And then you think about the fires that are out there.
Right.
If we're not doing anything about the environment, the climate is continuing to heat up, and we see that daily now. Then you think about our food baskets, and people don't think about that. You could have food shortage in the country if we don't have some control over the heat. Your land turned to deserts. You know, so you can't grow food. You know, your water gonna dry, your water tables and all that.
The things that we take for granted.
Right. Everything that sustained our life is at stake.
Right.
And if we don't have people there to make sure that these entities or agencies
are maintained,
then you know, the future generation is going to suffer. You know, we see movies about this, but we never think that it is possible, but it is possible. And we see some of the things that are happening show that those, the visionaries of people and the content creators was right.
Exactly. I mean, Jerry, when you said a moment ago how things like this, it is, and I like to be open and talk about things that are really real. When it comes down to it, do you think it's just that much hatred in the world that, is it that much separation in the world that they just want to hurt somebody just to hurt somebody? Because that's what it feels like to me. I don't see why.
Well, it would subside if people were not running on it.
Okay.
You know, there are people. It makes people feel good to look down on other people sometimes, and then you got politicians that bring the worst out of other people,
but isn't that
against people.
Right, isn't that something though that they've been hovering over that's there, but now they just feel like it's okay to let it out? It bothers me so bad, Jerry, when I see the things that I see and how we treat each other, because we're all people.
Exactly, and but that's something that has been going on since. In order to not really, but to justify slavery, we had to put somebody down. We had to make them feel less than human, or they had to feel that that person was less than human.
Right.
You had to otherize that person.
Right.
And it has metastasized itself through history now of the United States. It's something that we need to reconcile.
I think so too.
One of the things in South Africa, they had a truth and reconciliation, and where people came forth and said, yeah, we did this to this group of people, and this is what we need to do to rectify some of it. And it's not a panacea of what took place, but it was a apology to the people that was hurt and harmed.
Exactly.
And it helped the transition to a peaceful transition before people would go to war. That helped to calm the nerves and the pain that so many had suffered under. We have never gotten that in America.
You got that right, because I mean, I say that because I look at things and it often bothers me. Okay, and just hear the picture I'm trying to paint, because I wish this world was peaceful. And I tell you, everybody just takes everything, it just goes so far-fetched that they want to hurt somebody about it, but there's enough for everybody. I mean, like...
Yeah, well, you know it's enough, and when the top 10% has more than all, or have more wealth than all of the bottom 50%, that says something right there.
And my thing is, what is it that you gotta have control? It's like you want to control everybody. I'm just talking layman's terms now. For people want to control everything and everybody, to say that I'm the chief, I'm this. I mean, why will we ever, before the end of time, ever get beyond that?
I think hopefully someday we will, but I think there's something innately in people that
causes that to come out.
Yeah, because you're always in conflict, and it's a spiritual conflict.
I wanted to go there, because I think like sometimes if we don't know, how can we? And what bothers me also, this bothers me. Oh, I love the Lord. This is what this person. Oh, it's Jesus. This is Jesus. That Jesus wouldn't do that.
No, and one of the things that Martin Luther King said, he was always in conflict with himself.
Exactly.
He desired to do right. But there are some things that'll come out wrong.
Like yes.
He said, I want the Lord to help me, but I'm hurt by my unbeliefs.
Exactly.
So it's going to
give me that strength where my faith needed to help me get through. But you know what bothers, and I think it's just so. It's like you say, it's been even back to slavery. When we talk about the things back then, how even people of color had to go through so much because of that color, and I don't understand that. I'm a grown woman. I've lived a long life. I've learned a lot and still learning, but I do not understand that. That is so hard for me to comprehend, that even with the world today, how it's happening, Jerry. I see some of the things now that my mother and father talked about. It's back again. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all over again.
Yeah, I'm old enough to know that and saw many things, especially growing up in Arkansas and right there in the Delta of Mississippi.
Right.
We right there on the border of each other. I saw all kinds of stuff growing up. The hatred, the violence, the from my folks was from Elaine, Arkansas. It was a massacre that took place there. In Tennessee, there was massacres in Mississippi. But they was in the early 1900s. My grandfather and mother will tell us about these things.
That's what I'm talking about.
So some of the things that we saw then, you're right, it's happening now.
It's happening all over.
And when you see somebody that put so much hatred in the minds of people, and they get on the law enforcement, those individuals should never been on a law. You see Massey in Chicago, where she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and dude shot her in the head.
I mean, now that blew me away, because that let me know that man was so evil.
Yeah, and the thing about it, this guy had been at 6 police forces.
Different
before
ones. So
different
he had a record.
Yeah, he should have never been on the, because if they done kicked you out of 6th place, somebody knows something wrong.
Something wrong with
Seriously.
that picture. You know what I mean?
But
these things like this, even with the fact that I'm bringing this out because up with this, your locals, and we're talking about the great big election that's coming up in November. We need to make sure that we make sound decisions that's going to benefit the entire country, not to separate the country.
And and that's why I'm glad the candidate Harris said yesterday that said we're going to work for all America regardless.
That's right.
And that's what they're supposed to do. Once the election is over with, you're supposed to have a peaceful transition of power, and then everybody come together, regardless of who the person is. As long, we never had to worry before about losing our democracy.
Exactly.
We might fought against each other, Republican, Democrat, independents, non-affiliates. We fight like that, and at the end of the day, everybody accept the result. Now we're saying we're not going to accept the results unless it's in our favor. And then you done put 70-some people around the country in battleground states who are saying and who have said they will not certify these elections coming up. That could lead to civil strife in the country. And something that we shouldn't ever want to see again in America. Almost 1 million people died in the Civil War before.
Absolutely.
So if, and we don't know whether it was 1 million because, the collateral damage is not really counted as war.
Absolutely.
In the war.
Absolutely.
It's just the soldiers that died in it. So
we got a lot of things. We got to go to break, but we got a lot of things we're going to come back and talk about because we got a lot of things to share with you to keep it top of mind. And my sole purpose of what I want people to realize is don't give up your right to speak loudly. Don't think that it won't make a difference because it does. But what I do want you to do is really take the time to sit back and see what's going to be effective for us all, not just for somebody who you think one way and just keep one way only. We're going to be talking with Mr. Jerry McIntosh with more information that you need to keep close to your heart right here, Sunshine's Corner. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel for all of your men wear needs.
This is Wayne at Icon Automotive in Robertsdale, Alabama, and I wanted to tell you more about our Powertrain Warranty Forever. It comes with any vehicle we sell that has 80,000 miles or less at no additional cost to you. We put our vehicles through a tough safety and mechanical inspection before it can have the Powertrain Warranty Forever, giving you a peace of mind with your purchase. This warranty is good anywhere in the country, and it covers 100% of parts and labor with no mileage limit, and is covered as long as you own the vehicle. Come pick out your dealership car at non-dealership pricing with the Powertrain Warranty Forever at Icon Automotive.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Go back to being a kid again. Head on over to Bubba's Sweet Spot. We've got house-made caramels, fudge, pralines, marshmallows, and lots and lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Looking for more traditional candy? We've got you. Our walls are covered head to toe in all the classics, from taffy to gummies and lollipops to gumballs. And don't forget our ice cream. With endless toppings and dipped cones, we've got what you're craving. Let us take you back to a time when every problem could be solved with candy. At Bubba's Sweet Spot.
And with the Supreme Court ruling.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We were talking about the Supreme Court ruling and all of this, but I'm getting so much information, it's unbelievable. But Jerry, I want to bring up this fact about what I shared with you about the message I got about if there's markings or anything on your ballot, how important that is for everybody to be mindful of watching their ballot when they get it at the polling areas.
Exactly. If there's something written on your ballot, or even like I said, a check on your ballot, get another ballot. Don't take any chances, because that ballot could be rejected. So make sure that you check your ballot to see if anything is written on it, because some people will do some shenanigan stuff out there.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it won't happen like it did before. You know how they tried to take it and in everything they could to try to turn it over. But everybody needs to be aware of the things that you need to be aware of. That's why we're sharing it. Now, we were talking about something else you want to share. He got a list of things that we need to know on that sheet.
Yeah, we're talking about the restructuring of the Department of Homeland Security, abolish the Consumer Finance Protection
And all of this with
Bureau.
Project 2025, right?
Yeah, this is under Project 2025. Abolish the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. That protects us from those who would the greed merchants who would run our credit cards up with higher interest, put all kinds of fees on you. This is what the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau
We got a phone
protects
call.
you
Let's
from.
see what somebody got to ask us today.
Mm-hmm.
And good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. I am calling I'm trying to turn this down. Just to let you know, I did go ahead and post on my social media page, just vote.gov, so people can go in to sign up for their mail-in ballot. It's really good for everybody to do that, and go ahead and do that today.
Okay, so did it say that what the deadline was today or tomorrow?
It didn't say, but it did approve it. I did get a confirmation.
Oh, okay, so everybody can do that then, Jerry. What that they can call in just to get theirs. That's what you just did, right?
Yes. Well, I went online and signed up online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Under ScambiaVotes.gov, and I posted it on Facebook as well. And then I tag your page, and I will tag the TV station as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. McIntosh, for providing us with some important information on the election.
All right. Thank you, love.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Mm-hmm. And everybody, I just found out now today is the last day.
Yeah,
I just got that. Today is the last day that you can get that mail-in ballot. So you need to go ahead if you have not gotten yours by 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, by 5 o'clock. Yeah.
You got to 5 o'clock. So don't waste any time. Do it.
Do it. I'm telling you. I was also talking about.
And I found out something else. With that, you have to do a renewal every year.
Every year. Yeah, every year.
Yeah,
every year. It used to be once you apply for it, they send it to you automatically. But with the new that we've been trying to explain to people, the new legislative laws, it's changed so much that, and they are not warning the people about how it's taking place.
Okay, so if you thinking you're gonna get it, you was sitting around there and won't.
You won't get it. You got to call for it. And that's every year because of the legislative processes that has changed now.
Wow.
That causes people to lose their rights, or maybe can't even vote. Mm-hmm. And people are purged from the roll and don't even know they are purged. Mm-hmm. So they are not sending out information. I mean, here they are. I think
here in Pensacola.
In Pensacola, I think the supervisory election want people to know that they are, have been either purged from the roll, or they need to check their status to make sure they get their mail-in ballot and all of that. And I want to say that here in Escambia County, they've been pretty good and getting stuff to you within minutes. Mm-hmm. I mean, or the next day.
How does a person go about checking their status?
Just call down to the supervisory elections office.
Okay.
Yeah, and they will tell you whether you got a mail-in ballot, whether you're still on the roll or not, what you need to do. I think it's just a couple minutes and you're through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, everybody? All you got to do is write it down to the Supervisor of Elections office and find out your status so you know what to do. And of course, now today at 5 o'clock is the deadline for you to get your your ballots mailed out. They'll get it to you.
Right. For the August election.
For the August.
But you can, after today, you can still call in for the November election. So make sure you do that. If you didn't get it if you don't get it for August, make sure you get it for November, the November 5th election.
So just find out, and don't be afraid to ask questions. That's the only way you're gonna find out.
Exactly.
It's okay. It's okay to ask questions. I'll tell you one thing that my sister, rest her soul, used to say when she was a school teacher, right?
Yeah.
She said, the only crazy question is the one you don't ask.
Exactly.
She said, always be inquisitive to find out, and I agree. And go ahead and tell them about what you were saying.
I was going to say, privatize. They're talking about privatizing Social Security. And they've been talking about this for years, but these are long-term things have come into fruition if this is implemented. If the wrong person win the White House, this is a position
all this stuff will be implemented.
This is going to be policy. And if we don't know it, this is going to be policy, and I want people to know the position of the person that's now trying to run from the policy that he so eloquent praised before. They talk about decreasing regulation in healthcare. That means that ain't no telling what could happen to you.
Wow.
Increased private sector role in public education. In other words, public schools will almost be a thing of the past because you're talking about privatizing everything. And big business has been one to get into education anyway because there's a huge amount of money into education. State, national.
Chills go through me when you say that. I mean, just privatizing everything.
You're talking billions and billions of dollars. The reason people want that.
I want to say this too, Jerry. I want to continue to reiterate this. This is not just going to affect the black community.
No, it's not. It's not.
Baby, this is not going to just affect the black community.
We're talking to America.
We're talking to the American people. I don't care if you're red, yellow, black, white, or brown. It's going to affect you too.
Right. One of the things Rick Scott said, the senator from this area, said we need to privatize Social Security. And if we don't, then we need to determine whether we need to do it every 5 years and it's sunset. And the same thing with Medicare and Medicaid. So these are, you think about people my age, I'm getting Social Security. And so I'm getting Medicare and Medicaid. And so if you cut all that away, that means
a big chunk.
You're talking about your insurance going to automatically go up.
Get out of here.
And then under the ACA, you can't cap the limited amount of insurance that you can get. Before, there were insurance companies that capped. If you got sick 3-4 times a year and your insurance, you go to a hospital now, you can bet it's going to be close to $100,000, especially if you have surgery or more. And so if you go to a couple of times, and they cap your insurance at say $500,000, and you get sick, or your wife gets sick, or your children get sick, that money is gone, and you can't. You got to now try to go find another insurance if you can,
because at that rate you can't. It's difficult
because it's going to cost you so much.
Big time.
And that's why that's why the ACA was put in place, and some 21 million people joined this year alone, and each year is getting bigger and bigger. But people are paying into the process. They are just not paying the insurance as high because you have a choice of whether you want a big package, a small package, or package in the middle.
Right.
So you have that choice now, but you won't have that if you
go into that project 2025, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going on that you can't change. So let's be mindful of that.
You know, and then they talking about cutting federal support for renewable energy projects, reduce environment regulation on business. Now, I know we grew up when smog was in the air. You know, before they forced them to put scrubbers on, these companies had to put scrubbers on to keep all this smog from polluting the air. Where people, you know, like New York, Chicago, California, all of these places where they had all these companies that was putting out, there was smokestacks everywhere from the mill to the chemical plants and all of that. So they put scrubbers on to reduce all of that from going into the atmosphere that was causing asthma, that was causing lead poison from different places.
Most certainly.
So
it's a lot of things. We got to go take another break, but let me tell you, we'll talk about some other things. Because listen at this, what we're talking about, everybody, you're going to hear a lot of this on this show coming up through the election, because I think that the only way, knowledge is power. Once you know what's going on, that'll give you a better way to think when it comes to casting your vote. Even coming up with the local election that's coming up on the 20th, week after next. So please stay close and tell somebody. Call us and talk to us today. If you've got a question, just like the caller, I want to thank called in earlier about the early voting with what he went ahead and put on Facebook for us. That was good move.
Right.
Thank you so much. So look, we'll be right back with more information for you right here on Sunshine's Corner.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway, open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
The Reesburg Institute, Pensacola's ear, nose, throat, and voice center. We welcome you to visit us at our convenient Davis Highway location in Pensacola. At the Reesburg Institute, we offer the most advanced treatment available in a calm, stress-free environment. Since 2014, we've performed over 1,000 cases in office of balloon sinus surgery, as well as septoplasty and nasal procedures using oral sedation. The in-office procedures result in a faster healing time. Visit us and feel the difference.
Hello, my name is Eric, and this was my first visit to Little John's. The selection, the pricing here, and the customer service were outstanding. I would definitely recommend. The staff was very friendly, and they'll get you what you need.
Hi, this is John with Little John's Big and Tall here in Pensacola, Florida at 5700 North Davis Highway. Check us out at littlejohnsbigandtall.com, where we can take care of you with extra large up to 14X and large tall to 6X tall.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. I gotta share this with you. Somebody texted me, right? And just said, this is so cute. On November the 5th, 2024, your black job is to vote. I love that.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Your black job is to vote, okay?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But you know, all the stuff we're talking about right now are things that will be in effect if Project 2025 is instituted with that what's being said by some of the people, one of the persons that's running for president, and that means that he's going to have total control over everything. He wants everything under his leadership and dictatorship.
Exactly, and this is what this is. It's a dictatorial policy,
right?
And it demands loyalty, regardless of whether you believe it or not. You know, that means you're gonna have to go along with it, and you're gonna have to sign a loyalty document. If you're not signing that loyalty document, you won't be hired, or you will be purged away from the civil service programs.
Really?
And yeah, because they said they're gonna reduce that they're going to get rid of 50 to 100,000 people that work. And when you think about 50 to 100,000 people, you're talking about people working all over the country.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And you're talking billions of dollars being taken out of the economy. Other people will replace it, but not at the same rate it's going to take to after you move people. Then you got to hire all these people. Then you got to train all these people for that position.
Small business people, would that tear them down completely?
Yeah, because it's going to have a lot to do with commerce. You know, when you moving people, when you move, say for instance, a job closed in a community, we don't know the impact that it has until that job closed.
Exactly.
You know, that job or business had a lot of impact on the tax base in the country. I mean, in that city or state or territory, and it hired so many people that was producing, that bought from other companies around there, and stores and business and clothes. You know, one person can have an impact.
Of course.
Because they go into the grocery store, they go into the clothing store, they probably gonna buy a car, they're gonna try to buy a house.
Right.
So, you know, you think about that times thousands.
The interest rate right now, houses are out of the roof anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, it's off the roof.
And I hope that the Fed reduced the interest rates so that people can afford to buy houses rather than buying them at this high rate.
I'm telling you.
And I think the institution should be behind it a little bit. They ought to be, so that they can sell on the market. You would think that. You know?
And I mean, you got all these new homes popping up on every corner. Come on now.
And this is another thing that eliminate the Department of Commerce, and that's something we were just talking about. Reduce federal oversight on labor standards. You know, we definitely need oversight on labor standards. Other than that, you know, we have 10 and 12-year-old children out there working 24/7.
My God.
Because that's why you have labor standards, so that people can keep watch on making sure that people are protected. You know, it's people we still work in factories and stuff that has issues that you know, that's sometimes not always safe. And so you have to have those federal standards to make sure that the laws are enforced. And even that at best, they are not enforced as much as they should be.
You know what I want people to start to do? To get more involved in finding out what's important to us, like for some of the laws that we're talking about, the things that in the world that affects us. And we're talking about things for the American people, but even locally, it's going to affect you too. You may not think that just because we're talking about this worldwide number, it's not going to touch you. Wrong answer.
Exactly.
It's going to touch you. So therefore, if we would take more time to educate ourselves on the things that are so beneficial to us in this world today, I think we'll be better than just instead of taking somebody for what they say. Find out for yourself.
Exactly. You know, when they was closing Navy bases, we were fighting like the devil around here to make sure that we kept the Navy base.
Exactly.
Because we know the kind of money that's being pumped into the economy around. If you remove the Navy base and all those people that work out there, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that's going to be lost out of the economy, and that's overnight, and that's going to have a detrimental effect all across the whole economy.
Exactly. And I think some people think just because they see that in a wide range that it won't affect them. Right here in Pensacola, yes it will. Everything we're talking about in this electoral season, it will affect all of us, because they're not just talking this to say, let you hear about it. No, it's going to affect you.
Right. And what we are talking about is in that 920-page Project 2025. It's 920 pages. I want to be clear about that. And this is why we got stuff broken down, so that people can can, we can even give you the page number. You can go and look it up if you don't want to go through all the other stuff.
Of course. Now, they can get in touch with you, right? You can give them all of that, right?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I can get you a copy of it.
So you wouldn't have no problem going there and pulling it up for yourself.
And now they're talking about privatizing the infrastructure projects. If you do that, that means X amount of people are going to be left out. And under the Biden administration, the infrastructure bill that was passed, they in that bill, so you had to have African American, Hispanics, everybody else, and women engaged in that infrastructure bill. Under privatization, you don't have to do that.
Absolutely.
Nobody really cares.
Absolutely.
Because greed set in then.
That's right.
And you don't even have to have people as subcontractors or any of that.
Right.
So under the
Jerry, we got about 3 minutes.
Okay.
About 3 minutes. Tell us.
Let's reduce funding for a federal research program. Repeal the Affordable Care Act. Reduce federal student aid, and every student should be concerned about that. Reduce the federal government intervention in various sectors. Withdraw from international climate agreements, which is not good at all.
Not at all.
Limit the jurisdiction of federal courts. Reform the Department of Justice. Repeal net neutrality regulation. Reduce business regulation. Lower corporate tax rates. And so
a lot.
It's even more in that. And it's going to have a devastating effect on the American economy and the American people.
Absolutely.
Psychologically, economically, and physically.
No doubt. So if a person wants to get in touch with you so they can get a copy of this.
I'm at 850-206-3776, or they can call me at Move for Change office at 850-432-4411.
Listen to my dear people. Don't let this pass. And if you want to dig even deeper, look, he's got this thing already printed out that you don't have to read the whole 900-page document.
Right.
That 2 books. What you can do is just go by and get it for yourself, and then educate yourself on things. This is how you do it. And what's so good about this, he's got the pages by every document, what you need to know about.
Right.
Every entity that we talked about today, we got the page by.
Yeah.
So you can go by and just read.
Exactly. The page number. You don't have to go through the whole document. Just
no doubt.
It's
all there for you.
Yeah.
Jerry, let me say thank you for coming in for me today.
Thank you.
I greatly
for
appreciate
having
this.
me.
No, I will be having more because we're going to talk more about this election season. I think we got to keep everybody top of mind on what's going on, and what you do is such a strong entity in this community. And I appreciate you coming out with me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And everybody, I can't believe the clock has ticked that fast, but I've got to go. But I want to leave it with you as I do every day, and I mean this from my heart. Never, ever, 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 ever lose your focus. Always remember now, if you keep God first in whatever you do, I can guarantee you this, you're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow with my musical guest, this young lady going to take you back to the 70s right here. So until then, my friends, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. And Jerry, thank you, and keep doing what you're doing for our community right here in Pensacola. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.